Hey, how's it going? As always, Nate Mumford, Director of Sales Engineering here at RCS. Welcome to another RCS Live. Today, we got an exciting one for you. How RCS products integration improves your efficiency. I know I'm going to have a little PowerPoint here because it's just easier to talk about it and show you something than having me just talk with a blank setup behind the screens here. But I'm really excited for this one. We've been working on this for you, really understanding some of the nuances from RCS products and getting a little deep dive and some behind the scenes and how it works. So really excited for this. Some housekeeping to get out of the way. Of course, as you know, we always have our full RCS archive online for you, rcsworks.com/RCS-live. Over 150 videos of how-tos and tips and tricks and all that good stuff is available for you for free on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, wherever you want. We have all the videos on there. If you go to our website, rcsworks.com, and click on the blog section, we have a full write-up on each one of those videos. So you might say, hey, this is great. I'm going to watch this video. Or, oh, okay, I get the gist, but I'm going to move on and watch something else. And, of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to us on our socials. We're here to help you out as well. So if you're a certain video you're looking for or something like that, let us know. I'd much rather have you go and take a look at some of those, here, you want to look at this video at like the 23-minute mark, something like that. Plus, you can watch me age. And today is brought to you by the color orange, my little New York Mets orange and blue going on over here. Yeah, it's been a long time in these videos. So any questions? I do have the chat open here as well, so feel free to ask away. I'm going to switch between some of my PowerPoint and some of my Zetta systems over here as well, just kind of show you some things. Don't forget, too, we're going to be at TAB, Texas Association of Broadcasters, next week. If you're going to be in the area, we'd love to see you and hang out. Just, again, reach out to socials. Find us, talk to us. We'll get in touch and go from there. Here's my goal for today that I want to take away. I wanted to offer a better understanding of how RCS products integrate with one another and third-party products, because what we're seeing now as we evolve to the cloud operations and third-party products and AI and API and all those things, you start to see how RCS is built with some of this, foundation built into it. So as we expand our operations, RCS products can handle some of these third-party and internal services. And for security purposes, it's also important to note they're in the mix as well. And just a reminder, we want to identify what you want, right? Let your vendors help you navigate to get you the desired result. As we have less people doing more, I hear that almost every day, constantly. The idea is that, hey, listen, you were taught a certain way, and that's how you know it. You might not know another way. I'm the first one to tell you, when I took over this role over here, I was shocked by all the things that I was doing manually back when I was a PD versus what I can do now and show others. So the big thing here is just a reminder, identify what you want. Let your vendors help navigate you that desired result, because here at RCS, we can meet you where you need us, be it on-prem, a hybrid, or a cloud solution. So I'm going to move a little bit quick for time purposes. As I said, we have my chat open over here as well. Don't forget, by the way, we have a TAB promo code RCS 2026. That's for free registration at the TAB conference. And we have more too. In NAB New York, they're coming up as well. So again, we're a little quick here for time purposes. Don't forget the archive, rcsworks.com/RCS-live. So I want to start off with GSelector and Aquira live logs with Zetta. So this is, again, the first thing. We start talking about the integration piece, right? How all of the RCS products integrate with one another. So with Zetta being the automation system, GSelector being the music scheduler, the idea is we have a live library. All the metadata is in sync. And what you start to see is we have certain things like custom attributes, custom workflows, because these are in sync. And they're not references, right? We're not using this saying, okay, well, I'm going to make this be this be this, and you talk to one another. The idea is that these are actually built in. So you see certain things like even troubleshooting, right? That we have options in GSelector in Zetta where I can push a log from Zetta to GSelector or GSelector to Zetta, vice versa. And so there's ways that you can kind of go and not only just make this everyday, super, benefit efficient. Hey, I'm going to make a change in GSelector. I'm going to schedule a log. It appears over in Zetta, but there's also a sense of, supporting this as well, right? And you'll see me say this a couple times. When we build GSelector in the next version, we are also testing the integration, right? When we add a brand new feature in Zetta, we check that integration over with GSelector. And that's a very important distinction as we're getting in this world now of 2026, 2027 with the cloud, and there's a lot of new players on here. It's a very important reminder that, with RCS from our development cycle, these are all things that we started from like day one, right? We built this in. These are services built into the program, built into the installer, and we're not making references. And you'll start to see more of this kind of like, well, there's a third-party tool here, third-party tool there. Yeah, we don't really do that with RCS products, especially between RCS and RCS products. So the idea is all metadata is in sync. We have our live log. I mean, Zetta can tell GSelector, hey, I don't have a log for day X. Go ahead and schedule that log for me. You can do that if you wanted to. Plus, one of the big benefits that we take for granted a lot is the automatic reconciliation. The idea that I played this, I didn't play this. We can see that live in real time. And there's some great videos I'll show you in just a second that can kind of further deep dive into some of those integration, that live log features. Speaking of Aquira with Zetta, we just talked about this in the Aquira Back to Basics live series. We talked about contracts and media being in sync with your Zetta system, as well as your logs and spot lines, real-time changes. So if I need to change, let's say, a spot block in 15 minutes, I can do that in Aquira, save it, and it appears automatically over in Zetta, which is super helpful as well. And I wanted to do a little teaser. I always like throwing teasers out here for you. Reconciliation, that should be coming soon in 3.26.2. So not only can we go and send logs, we can also receive reconciliation as well. That's been on the pipeline. And again, sometime around September 2026, that should be the release of that version. Again, just for time purposes, I'm moving fast here. Any questions on this? As I said, you can always reach out to us on the socials. We're more than happy to expand on this for you, or reach out to support and talk about how you can set this up if you wanted to as well. Zetta Site Replication, some benefits on there. Remember, there's Site Replication and there's ZCast. The difference there is Site Replication is kind of the modern delivery mechanism. The idea that I have my Zetta environment and I want to replicate that in another location. Essentially a Zetta server in sync, right? And so that could be something as simple as a backup at a transmitter site. Also relatively new, I think it's 5.22 if not mistaken. We have one-way site replication is now in the mix. So just in case you missed that feature, really helpful for backup at transmitter sites. The idea that, hey, I'm going to push all my changes over to my backup transmitter site, but I don't necessarily want that to come back over and affect any on-air operations. So there's a brand new checkbox for one-way site replication. You can have multiple markets in sync. We always use the example of SiriusXM, where you can go and be in any desk at any location, sit down, type in the user Nate, and boom, all of my data is there. So we back up the audio, the logs, your users, your logins, the layouts. It's essentially replicating that Zetta site, see what I did there, or that Zetta server across multiple ones. So if we have multiple sites in sync, kind of linear left to right, what we do is ZettaCloud is that's just vertical. It's another site replication profile, right? And you can have multiple. So one can go to the backup of the transmitter site, one go to your ZettaCloud instance, and that could be for disaster recovery. Or what we're seeing now more in the field is automation, allowing to have that ability of that hybrid environment. Maybe your FMs, our news talks, live morning shows, we want to keep those on-prem. Totally fine. And then we do is HD2s, secondary stations. Those are running in the cloud for automation. You've seen a lot of these RCS lives talk about how different users are interpreting some of these cloud workflows. The idea that, hey, I have a new studio that I'm going to repurpose into a content creation. I don't need to have an Adobe license and a Zetta license in that room. I might just have a Zetta to go, or I might utilize, let's say, put that production work in the cloud if I wanted to do that, right? Again, that on-prem, in the cloud, hybrid solution, we got you covered wherever you're going to be. And again, that's the audio log, users, and layouts. And just kind of quickly show you too, because I don't like doing a PowerPoint for 20 minutes. That's just configuration, site replication manager. You can see here I have my cloud environment in here as well as this generic little site replication on here. And the idea is that if you did want to isolate it, you could create station groups in here, isolate that group. So the idea is, let's say I want to only send certain formats or whatever it is, certain audio to a different location. I could isolate this instead of doing all stations. I can create some type of substation group in here and then only send those elements. And again, relatively new, that receive only sites. That is going to be the one way, right? The idea there is that we would go to the transmitter site and I would essentially enable that feature. So I'm only going to receive site changes. I'm not sending site changes, right? So that's a really cool feature for you. Again, it's more of a modern approach to certain things. So the idea is that as I go to the next slide here and talk about ZCast and multi-site voice tracking, this is becoming more of a specific request for users that have multi-site voice tracking, or MVT, right? The idea is that I have a virtual log, I have a voice track on there, I click it, send to multiple destinations. There's some great videos we have on there if you wanted to check that out as well. Again, on our archive, rcsworks.com/rcs-live. Great resource for you there too. We talk about how to MVT, how to distribute that audio. By the way, speaking of MVT, that is also included in the most recent Zetta Academy. And so if you're curious about MVT workflows, we do have, as part of the, again, it's about a year or so old update now, but we did include MVT workflows in the brand new Zetta Academy. So that's also really helpful for you as well. Just a heads up, when do I use ZCast? When do I use Site Replication? What's the difference? It depends on what your station needs. I have some users that are utilizing ZCast because they have one specific format they want to send out across the board. So the idea is that, hey, I have a shared database of audio. And what we can do is essentially build that out if you wanted to. I can go ahead and take one Zetta system and say, hey, do you need that audio? Sure. I'll highlight the audio you need and Zcast it to that Zetta system, essentially acting as an isolated, kind of library, if you will, or creating a library from scratch. Some users will just take everything and send it across, no problem. Others will isolate it, just like we did in the Site Replication. Or it's kind of as you need it, right? So we have some users that just do spots. And I want to diversify my voices, and I got market A, and it's this, talent, and they can essentially record it and then Zcast that one spot over to their market, right? So for further distribution. What's shared for Zcasting? That's assets, logs, hotkey stacks, and voice tracks. Again, from my opinion, you're going to see a lot more of kind of a Site Replication is the go-to to replace a lot of this stuff. But the idea is that if I had over here, there's my Zcast connections. If I expand on this, the idea is I have am I receiving assets? Am I requesting assets? Can they request these things? Assets, logs, hotkey stacks, some split behaviors. That's voice tracks, heads and tails, and the segue transitions as well, right? And so the idea here is this going to allow you to essentially have more of a, notice I'm identifying a lot of things here, right? Again, going back to that first slide, identify what you're trying to achieve and let us help get you to that solution, right? So I'm just kind of identifying different ones. If it's literally going to be I need MVT, multi-site voice tracking with a virtual log, we'll help you out. We have a lot of users that are doing that. One voice tracking sent to, 10 stations, 10 formats, or just 2. Right? We have some users that, we don't have to have this big scale, right, Chip? We can just go and say, hey, here's just a very small little, I have this one voice track when I send 2 or 3 times across the board. We can do that if we wanted to. And so the idea here is really identifying what you want and let us help you get there to make your time and maximize your time. And by the way, I'm going to jump here quickly. There are 2 great videos for you. There is a Zetta ZCast and Site Replication user examples with Brian Willard, head of FTS, and Jeff Ziegler, our senior engineer. And it's a really great conversation. That's awesome. There's also an RCS Live, a Zetta and GSelector live integration one that we did that kind of talks about some of this integration pieces. And there's a little search bar over here on the right-hand side. So like, for example, if you go to the blog section or whatever, I can search here, and you can see here I have add a song, right? So I can click on that, hit search, and after that, you'll see a whole bunch of videos will pop up, how to add a song in Zetta, how to add and customize a song in GSelector. There's some great resources for you here. Again, any questions, reach out on our socials. I'll point you in the right direction. But again, I just want to show you some of these ways that we're trying to create resources for you to help you and your team out. Now, let's move some fun stuff. In modern delivery with RCS.Connect. Now, this is a really interesting piece, and I get a lot of users asking, well, where are we in the world with the cloud versus on-prem? And remember, focusing on some of those hybrid workflows, right? We can take our Zetta use a site rep profile to a ZettaCloud instance, replicating all of my logs, audio, and backup for disaster recovery purposes. I can then create a brand new station in there and then automate that 24/7 outside of the Zetta world. We can definitely do that. But then, of course, it turns into, okay, it's in the cloud, Nate. What's the cloud? What's going on? And so we have a little middleware here called RCS.Connect. So what does RCS.Connect do? It connects your on-prem system with your RCS cloud system. And why is that important? Because of RCS security. Your multi-factor authentication SSO logins are built in through RCS security through RCS cloud. And the RCS Connect makes a direct, secure connection from your on-prem system to your cloud environment. And really what we've seen here is that could be any machine that has access to your Zetta or GSelector or Aquira environment, right? I found a lot of users with an encoder machine, right? The machine that's just sitting there with an encoder, just streaming, doing its thing. We can actually maximize that and do some type of, let's say, hey, we'll repurpose this, or dual purpose, I should say, dual purpose. So it's an encoder and acts as the RCS Connect. It doesn't take a lot of resources. It's just that communication from your on-prem securely to your RCS cloud instance. So common uses for this: flat file integration, traffic log, and reconciliation. By the way, we'll send the logs back to that destination. Perhaps you have an auto load local on-prem, or maybe just third-party metadata, something like that. Ways of just essentially getting that on-prem solution in the RCS cloud environment. And if you'll notice, I said RCS cloud because that includes, of course, ZettaCloud, ZettaCloud-based disaster recovery, Selector Cloud, and, of course, down the road, things like audio display, or even, let's say, an Aquira Cloud as we keep on going further down the roadmap there for RCS Cloud products. But there's some exciting things down there. But that's the big piece of the puzzle. And I really want to reinforce this because what we're seeing, again, with a lot of these cloud solutions that are appearing, you'll see a slide coming up. Ask the right questions, identifying those air chains. RCS.Connect is an RCS middleware product that we have. It's free. It's included as part of the things. And it allows you to have that secure connection. What we're seeing a lot of now in the field is utilizing third-party pieces like Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever that could be. And the issue there is that you're relying on a third party. So that company needs to work with that other company to then, of course, have the integration. And if one of those pieces of the air chain goes down, what do you do, right? And that type of thing. Whereas you look at something like RCS.Connect, that's an RCS solution that we support, that we utilize, that we're evolving and developing, so it makes your life easy and simple, right? Just to be blunt, there's less excuses of the air chain during troubleshooting. And we're seeing a lot of that these days, right? Well, oh, this happened, or you got to go through this, or hey, we don't touch that, that's you. No, this is like an RCS solution with an RCS product utilizing middleware, in this case, RCS.Connect. Make sense? Questions? I'm talking fast in a short period of time. That's why we have the RCS Live Archive to rewatch this. Cool. Again, I have my chat open here. I got Facebook. I got Twitch. What else am I on? LinkedIn these days? Whatever it is. I have my chat over here to check in. So Zetta, ZettaCloud, and GSelector open APIs. We are seeing much more of this. I can tell you firsthand from my role, API 6-10 years ago was like, cool, API, it's not my problem. Now, I get daily questions about what our API is, right? And so this is super important because it allows our products, RCS products, to work with third parties for an easy integration. I always reference DTS AutoStage because I know it's easy, quick. We get it done in a matter of seconds. Other systems can take weeks and months to easily integrate because we have things like HTTPS and we have open APIs to make those calls. I've had some users reach out for API documentation. I have a little zip file ready to go for you. So in case you're an API power user and you want to see how that works, we can do that here as well. So there's some really interesting stuff you can do there. Again, just advanced users finding ways to tailor the APIs or daily workflows. And by open, it's whatever you need, right? And I'm kind of seeing this now. And I'll be honest, it's more of a reactionary from my perspective. I have users coming in. They want to have their own API tool or AI tool to incorporate modern distribution of metadata. That's also in there as well. Of course, we want to make sure, maybe we have no more flat files. if we can directly update and integrate with some of those things. And I'm going to grab here really quick. I'm going to grab a brand new tab here because I want to show you. I forgot to open this up. Just an example here. Perfect. There we go. Swagger API. This is the Zetta one. It's on the back end. It's in there. You can see it right now if you wanted to. We do have some API keys. You got to reach out to support for those, but we'll help you out on there. But the idea is that typically, and I'll be honest with you, when I get people asking me, like, do we have open API? The short answer is yes, we absolutely do. What are you trying to achieve? And I usually send them my little API zip file. And if I get I don't know what this is, respectfully, maybe this is not for you. Other people see this and like, oh, there's my Swagger API. Perfect. That's exactly what I need. And there's some great resources here for you. Again, that's on your Zetta right now. But if you're curious about seeing a zip of this, let us know. I can reach out and send you some of my API documentation as well. But that's just, again, a really, really important part of this. And as again, we're talking about third-party tools. And Nate, you've been ranting now for 20 minutes? Jeez. Why is internal integration important, right? As we introduce more modern delivery mechanisms, this is built by RCS for RCS products. From the start, these are integration services that are built by us, and they are tested against our QA environments. So we introduce things like brand new OSs and SQL instances and all of these things. We are testing these actively against because they're incorporated into our RCS product and our RCS workflow. That's really, really important. What happens if we make a change, if Dropbox or somebody makes a change and all of a sudden it affects your on-air operations? What if you get into that weird kind of circle pickle? Well, all of a sudden it's like, hey, I need this feature, or there's a broken feature and I go to get that fixed and update, but that, contradicts some Google Drive update or whatever it is. I don't know. And the idea there is that when it's RCS, we support it. We know it works, right? None of that confusion. Again, we build it, we support it, we fix it. I'm seeing right now live in real time that our dev team is just beyond phenomenal. And the things they're doing is just, they're moving fast, they're moving efficient, and they're really modernizing based on what our clients need right now, right? Again, no third-party downtime. What happens if you have a cloud solution and Dropbox is down? What if you forget your Dropbox login? Or what if you have whatever it is? What if your engineer who has the login is on vacation and you get kicked out and you have no idea to go back in and your operations is Friday at 5 p.m., right? Your workflow is compromised. That's a third party. So if you call, and just simply put, if this is not the case with us, but if you call RCS and say my Google Drive is down, we can't help you with that, right? But if you need to get some of the RCS.Connect, we're going to fix that and make sure you're up and running and no problem. Also, too, by the way, custom workflows, right? We're seeing more and more custom workflows with the open API and everything else that's in there. And so, again, these are not references. We're not using something like, okay, I'm going to call this, and you're going to call this, that, and we're going to go. No, it's going to be, these are all direct, built in, as I said, tested in the RCS environment. So, as we wrap this up, a reminder to ask the right questions. By the way, a little slight shout out to us. We're doing a lot of SBE presentations. We've been doing a whole bunch of them about the future of radio software and where it stands. Have a lot of great responses to that conversation. And one of the things that we've been trying to really promote as we get into this next level of radio and we have less engineers doing more, right? Asking the right questions, identifying what you want to do is such a big, important piece of that puzzle. For modern products, understand where a certain product starts and ends. You'll see some air chains in there. Classic example there is streaming, right? If you have a Zetta system and you have a streaming provider that's, let's say, not Revma, you might have a Zetta going to an encoder, going to that CDN. Okay. Well, if the CDN's got issues, we can really start to identify where it is. Is Zetta playing audio? Is Zetta exporting audio? Is Zetta exporting metadata? Does the encoder see that? Yes. Okay. From the encoder to your CDN, is there an issue there? There is. Okay. We understand where that air chain starts and where that air chain ends. And as we introduce the cloud, there's just more variables in place, but also we're not as familiar and confident in there. How is the vendor supporting the service? We're seeing that's huge these days. Again, I'm doing this RCS Live for you and your team for education and knowledge purposes. That's why we have the RCS Live archive with over 150 videos of how-tos and tips and tricks. It's why we take so much pride in our support department that when you call in, you get a person, no matter where it is. We follow the sun. And the idea there is that, hey, some others, they're kind of, I don't know, I never like to speak ill will of the competition. I really don't. But again, asking the right questions here. Time zones. Some users can't get hold of the support department because they're only in a certain time zone, either Europe or whatever it is. Or they're only email support, right? Not, let's say, phone support. And when you're in automation and when you're in the cloud world, you need to know that somebody's there. And that's definitely something that RCS provides from a support perspective. Proven versus unproven service models. As we move to the cloud, as a reminder, some of this is your revenue being controlled by a third party. When you're being hosted by somebody else in the cloud, you need to know that it's reliable and it's up there. Our development team, you've heard me say this beforehand about RCS Cloud. The first thing we did was RCS security, developing that foundation of the house. And so the idea there is that we want to make sure we have an East region, West region, multiple redundancies in place. So we have like 8 levels of redundancy there. So if this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens, you can still go live with an RCS Edge device at your transmitter site with locally cached audio, right? But ask that question. Hey, what happens if this goes down? What happens if that goes down? Because this could be your revenue, right? And that could be an important thing, especially in the cloud world. Room for expansion. That's another thing. These large environments, listener spikes for sporting events or holidays. One of the beauties about RCS and our cloud solution is we can scale very quickly with our nodes and scale back down if we needed to. No issues there, right? A proven track record of nearly 700 stations currently operating right now in ZettaCloud, right? Things like that. Just don't be stuck with a model that's a modern cloud solution that it can't scale their business needs. Oh, you said you wanted 3 stations. We gave you 3 stations. You want 4? Oh, wait a second. That's a totally different price hike of whatever it is, right? That type of thing. So for us here at RCS, we like to scale. We want you to operate in your environment and scale the way you need to scale. So again, reliability, looking at things like support, proven versus unproven service models, room for expansion. These are just important things. Ask the right questions when you're looking at a new either automation or cloud automation system. These are really important things to ask as well. So again, with that, let me know if I can help you in any way whatsoever. This is just a little QR code that you can, if you want to scan it, sends me an email. That's all it does. But I like throwing it in there for fun. So again, reminding you, we'll meet you where you need us, right? Our products are made from customer requests, especially these days. If there's something we're missing that you need, reach out to us, reach out to support, write a ticket up and see if we can get it in for you too. So it's exciting times in the radio world as we evolve into the cloud. But again, going back there, asking the right questions, asking yourself, what do I want to achieve from this product is just so important these days that I really want to reinforce that. So once again, integration products. What you're seeing here is RCS. We develop these products in-house. It's all done here. And then we essentially incorporate all those integrated services inside of our software. So it's tested. I think I said there, we build it, we support it, we fix it, right? Others can't necessarily say that same exact thing. So any questions, let me know what you need to help out. We have some more RCS lives coming up in the future. Really excited for that as well. If there's a certain topic for you, let us know. We're more than happy to incorporate that. Otherwise, don't forget about our archive, rcsworks.com/RCS-live. It's just such a great resource of tons of videos there. We have the RCS Academy for you. Again, our goal here is trying to give you the knowledge and confidence to have those communication, that conversation with whoever it may be, your engineer to programming, your engineer to corporate level. We want to give you these resources and help empower you to be successful in your role. So whatever we can do to help out, let us know. I'll see you again for another RCS Live. Have a fantastic